Hello everyone, my name is Wen Hao Tan from Payam University, and today I'll be giving a presentation on preliminary acoustic analysis of minor syllables in Kanise Khumi. The outline of the presentation is as follows. A little bit background information on the Kanise Khumi language. The language is spoken by around 5,776 people in Chin State, Myanmar, specifically around the Sami town in Paletwa Township, which is located in the southwestern part of Chin State. The language is a Khumi language or a Khomic language, which is classified under the Khomic branch of peripheral group, as proposed by David Peterson. Khomic languages are also well attested to be classified under the Kuki Chin branch, also known as South Central Tibeto-Burman languages. As indicated by the title of the presentation, the paper is concerned with minor syllable, which is the initial syllable of sesquisyllable in the Kanise Khumi language. The reason being is that in an early study, I found surface variations in minor syllable which points towards the possibility of segmental contrast. Now it is known that phonotactic constraints of minor syllable varies cross-linguistically. Some languages allow vowel or pitch contrast in minor syllable, while some do not. But in previous studies of minor syllables in the Khomic language family, we do find that Khomic languages generally takes a more restrictive definition in that minor syllable can only be composed of a single consonant, which means any vowel and pitch found is therefore uncontrastive. This is to say that contrastive variations are not expected in Kanise Khumi. It is more commonly attested in non-Khmer languages like in the Khmu or Kansu language, and so this paper serves as a pilot study looking into the possibility of phonemic contrast or predictability of segmental features in minor syllables, with the help of an acoustic analysis which results will be interpreted through an articulatory model. A little review on the previous studies of minor syllables in Kanise Khumi. Baleno did a preliminary analysis on minor syllables of sesquisyllabic nouns, and she found vowel height variations, but generally schwa realization. When it comes to pitch, we see that minor syllables are primarily being realized as a surface mid-pitch, but also shows high pitch variation, both of which aligns well with Ikeda's description on the lexical tone of Kanise Khumi, showing a similar range of values. Through my own observations, I found that minor syllables are generally being transcribed with the schwa vowel, but you do see open mid-central vowel that repeatedly occur with sesquisyllable with the initial Y morpheme. At this stage, the Y morpheme is being speculated as the third person participant marker. The same vowel also occur as the major syllable vowel with the same grapheme Y or AY. And I've done a simple acoustic analysis over 10 tokens of the vowel, and I've found that the average F1 of the vowel is about 611, which is higher than a typical schwa, which is about 500 Hz. With these observations, we suspect the segmental features to be contrastive. This leads us to the research questions of the study. What is the predictability of the surface variations of duration, vowel quality, and pitch in minor syllable? Are we looking at predictable realizations, or are they pointing towards the possibility of a vowel and pitch contrast? And what are the implications of the results towards the establishment of minor syllable and sesquisyllable in Kanise Khumi? Now moving on to methodology. The data of this study is based on a 2076 item word list based on the word list for linguistic fieldwork in Southeast Asia template. It is collected by Joe Bryan during a one-week elicitation session in a village near Sami sub-township. The informants of this word list is a native male speaker in his 50s and another younger male speaker that are providing about 193 words of the word list, and the word list is archived in Zenodo. At the early language documentation stage, because there's a lack of knowledge on the semantic and phonological makeup of minor syllables, so from the 2076 item word list, I've selected 115 sesquisyllabic words that are cognates with at least 2 of the 8 Khomic varieties that are listed here. And these 8 varieties have high mutual intelligibility with Kanise Khumi and are sourced from different databases. This is to avoid any bias on my L1 or my auditory impression. Further segmentation of the sound file of the 115 words are done using part-text grid. In analyzing the data, the paper wishes to demonstrate how surface phonetic values can give deep insights to phonological underlying representation through the acoustic output of the 115 sesquisyllabic words. We want to see if it is suggestive of associated phonetic targets or gesture regarding the segmental features of minor syllable. And so we'll be measuring the vowel duration, F1, F2 value, as well as F0, the pitch. 115 words were being categorized into 3 categories according to the tone carried by their corresponding major syllables. I found the tonal categorizations most telling and appropriate for the size of the study. While these categorizations appears to have no direct effect on the vowel formants than on the pitch, it may be indicative of its correlations with the duration and pitch. As an additional line of inquiry, another experiment was being conducted comparing the vowel quality of minor syllables of the Y morpheme to the rest of minor syllable. In measuring vowel formants, the F1, F2 distribution plots were being generated, and only the formant values of the middle 50% of the total rhyme durations were being measured and averaged. In measuring pitch, the time-normalized F0 contours were being generated. In order to reflect the average ratio of the duration of minor syllable versus major syllable, which is 1 to 5, the pitch contour of minor syllable is being fitted into 0 to 0.2 second time frames, and for major syllable, that's from 0.2 to 1.0 second. Now let's take a look at the results of the study. The first experiment focuses on the duration of minor syllable, and it is found that the tone of major syllable has no significant effect on the duration of minor syllable. Minor syllable of category H turned out to be the shortest, and category L turned out to be the longest. We are looking at a slight difference of about 30 milliseconds between category H and category L. One thing worth noting is that category L has about 1/3 of its token as outliers, spanning as far as 3 times the mean duration of the category. Now looking at major syllables, it seems that the duration of major syllables is influenced by the tone it carries. Major syllables with high modal tone turn out to be the longest as being an unchecked tone, and category M and L carrying a mid glottalized tone and a low breathy tone being shorter may have been the result of glottalization and auto breathy ending as the salient cues of these two tones. Moving on to vowel quality, when we categorize minor syllables based on the major syllable tones as we did for duration, we do see that again there is no significant effect of major syllable tones on the minor syllables vowel quality, where you do see a similar distribution range in the 3 categories and a huge amount of overlap. However, for comparison's sake, we do see some difference between the average F1 values of the 3 tonal category. It is suspected that the vowel quality may be predictable by the duration of the minor syllable. So as we compare it back to our last experiment, we do see that the minor syllable in category H is the shortest, followed by M and L being the longest. And we can see that when the minor syllable is longer, it has more time to attain the target or approximate to the vowel target. And so you can see that in category L, it has generally speaking a higher value of F1 as compared to category H, which carries the lowest mean F1 value in general. This is not a striking effect, and it's just a hypothesis at this stage. Another observation is that we do see a significant amount of outliers that has distinct vowel qualities that coming from category L. And this is compatible to our finding in the last experiment where we see that minor syllable of category L has a significant number of outliers that has a significantly longer duration. When we do a cross comparison with the mean formant values of all of the minor syllables in Kanise Khumi in general, we do see that most of the outliers are coming from the same category, which is category L. And so this has led ambiguity as to whether these outliers are part of the conversation in studying minor syllables in Kanise. And since we have gathered this word list from different varieties, what is sesquisyllable in those varieties might not be one in Kanise. So we might be looking at a phonological vowel of distinct vowel quality that has not undergone any reduction process or sesquisimplification process, or in the middle of one, since the rate of sesquisimplification differs between languages. An additional experiment was conducted to find out the vowel quality of minor syllables of the Y morpheme, and it is found that they do generally have a lower F1 values. Phonetically sounded like an open mid-central vowel indeed. Besides, the F1, F2 values of the vowel of the Y morphemes aligns well with the mean F1, F2 value recorded for the underlying open mid-central vowel represented by the same grapheme in major syllable, and this is 611 Hz for F1 and 1004 Hz for F2. And so this begs the question of whether the open mid-central vowel of minor syllable should be treated as a phonological vowel. And if that's the case, why are the values of the Y morpheme versus the non-Y morphemes not distinctive enough, and should they be treated as a separate vowel categories? The next experiment investigates the minor syllable pitch. Results shows that in category M and category L, this is where the minor syllable carries a mid-glotalized tone or a low falling breathy tone. The F0 pattern suggests an extrapolation of pitch values from following major syllable specification. In these two categories, we can see the degree of inclination of the minor syllable pitch accommodates to that of the beginning of the following full tone. However, category H is not reinforcing this idea. When preceded by a high tone, the minor syllable pitch remains the same, exhibiting a mid-tone-like downtrend contour as with the other two categories. This distinguishes the minor syllable pitch in category H from the other two, which seems to be just continuing the trajectory of the following full tone. At this stage, we suspect the minor syllable to carry a default surface midtone or a shorter stimulus of a lexical tone, but either way, it is safe to say that the F0 points to a pitch target which is not explicable by contextual interpolation. And there is also a possibility of the tone being phonological, but further investigation is needed. Although the findings may not have been consistent, the results of the acoustic study suggest that the vowel and pitch of minor syllable may have associated phonetic target and the possibility of being phonological. Also, the pitch is not extrapolated from adjacent tonal specification. Hence, this gives rise to two possibilities whether the vowel and the pitch are contrastive or they are not. If the vowel and the pitch are contrastive, we argue that the only reason for them to not have a full specification like those in major syllable is because of the short duration as a result of the weaker prosodic position minor syllable is in. If given enough time, the vowel would have been able to attain a full vowel target as a phonological vowel, which may be the open mid-central vowel, and the minor syllable pitch would have been able to attain a full pitch target as a lexical midtone. Alternatively, if the segmental features are uncontrastive, we are looking at a predictable realization of vowel in minor syllable as influenced by the environment, but building on the fact that the open mid-central vowel of the Y morpheme is contrastive, so that we can see a meaningful comparison between a contrastive and a non-contrastive vowel in the same position, which is in the minor syllable. Following this line of argument, we could be looking at a default phonetic midtone for the minor syllable pitch, where we argued that the minor syllable is not marked for phonological tone, but the minor syllable pitch cannot be accounted for without any surface specifications, which is in line with the underspecified or neutral tone found in Mandarin Chinese or Sagar Quran. In such a case, the pitch is phonetically specified but lack of significant contrast, and this kind of neutral tone or underspecified tone is commonly attested among Tibeto-Burman languages, also in related Chin varieties such as Lemi Chin and Kongso. Relevant to our discussion here is that both hypotheses suggest the possibility of contrastive variation in minor syllable. In this study, I've put forward different proposals as to whether segmental features in minor syllable are contrastive or not. And as a conclusion, it is safe to say that the question on the possibility of contrastive variations in minor syllable is definitely relevant and can be asked. One thing stood out in the analysis was the significant amount of outliers in category L, which was found in experiment on the duration and vowel formant. This gives motivation on providing a working definition of minor syllable, and to be able to do that, further considerations are needed. This means looking into the etymological origin and the morphological content of minor syllable as well as the duration range, because vowels of different word types, from excrescent vowel, unstressed phonological vowel to stressed phonological vowel, they lie on a continuum. So we want to see the possible durations for all types of vowel. And also, to further clarify the pitch and vowel quality status, we need to control the factors that are affecting the experiments. So this means segmental context, or more specifically, the tonal context like the boundary tone and intonation, as well as looking at surrounding consonants that are affecting the minor syllable vowel formants. As with the duration range, we need to be able to compare the formant value distributions of different vowel types that are of different level of specification on the same prosodic position to ensure the contrastivity of the minor syllable vowel that we are looking at. Hence, you can look forward to my upcoming MA thesis, as I will take this pilot study further and will look deeper into the level of specification of the pitch and vowel quality. Also, you can see my article for a detailed explanation on the framework of the study, which is articulatory phonology, and I will specifically talk about the possible gestural configurations of minor syllable vowel and pitch with their correlated articulatory specifications that are reflected on the acoustic output. Lastly, here are the references. Thank you so much for your attention and have a nice day.